Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. Oh, today I am joined by an absolute gem of a human. I truly love this guest so much. She has the best energy. She's just the biggest sweetheart. I'm joined today by Brenda Tunke. Brenda has been with Grande Prairie Police for the last 2 years, but prior to that, she was also with Edmonton Police, and she was also community peace officer in Grande Prairie. And prior to that, you guys, she lived in England. She did security work in England, and she took Grant McEwen's police studies program. And we're going to break it all down today. We're going to talk about exactly what that journey was like for her. I had the honor of meeting Brenda when she was making her transition from EPS, going up to Grande Prairie into that community peace officer role. And she had to come run her pair with me. Met her, immediately fell in love with her. The cutest, sweetest woman you've ever, you guys, you have to meet her because she's such a sweetheart. But we met and connected, and I just love you so much, Brenda. So thank you so much for being on the show. How are you today?
I am doing good, thank you.
So excited to have you because there's so many different things I want you to talk about. I want you to talk about your EPS career. I want you to talk about community peace officer role. And then I definitely want to dive into this whole new adventure that is Grande Prairie Police that is just kicking off and just building momentum. And I see all the good work you guys are doing, and it's so incredible to see. So I can't wait to talk about all that. But first, I want to know, how did you get into this? Like, what brought you into this? What was the drive for law enforcement?
So I grew up in BC, very rural BC, and my family is deep rooted in tourism, kind of 3 hours west of Williams Lake there in a little place called Tatlaco. So my grandparents, they started a tourism lodge back in the 80s, and I, as a young teen, would go there every summer and kind of really helped develop my way of being able to talk to people because I'm quite the introvert. And so since like grade 9, I've always been drawn to law enforcement, meeting conservation officers out there and the odd RCP officer, but like they were about an hour away from where we were. So by the time I was 19, I would kind of was like really putting it out there. I was like, yeah, I would love to talk to an RCP officer. And so through just way of channels, one of the ladies that worked in a nearby detachment, she came and talked to me, which was amazing. And I thought I had all this worldly experience, working at this lodge, being able to talk to people that were like mostly from Europe. And she was like, yeah, you're going to need some life experience. And so at the time I didn't really understand. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I feel like I'm ready, but I'm like, but you would know best. So I was like, how do you get life experience? So I was like, well, we have tons of people come visit our lodge from like Europe and Britain. And so we've had a work away from Britain. So I was like, let's get a work visa. So I ended up getting a work visa and I flew over to Scotland, started there. And then I landed. And my first job was with Saberwatch Security, which at the time I was like, ooh, like it was so exciting. I was definitely naive. And it was like my first job away, like outside of the family. And it was amazing. So I worked at Harvey Nichols, which is like kind of like a Harrods London. So really quite posh. Got to travel to London, did some training there. And then they were quite excited because they didn't get many females apply. And so where I was like, oh, they won't hire me because I'm a female. But they were like, oh, yes, like I was coveted. It was a pretty amazing experience. And so the day before my job started there in Edinburgh, I went to Harvey Nichols to see, what it was. And there was a red carpet, there was paparazzi. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, oh, Beyonce is shopping. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am working at a place where celebrities are. And so that was huge for me, being just this like small town rural girl. Funny enough, no celebrities came through when I was working. And I literally was a door guard. totally not glamorous, but the experience itself and then just working with the people, like we had 7 uniformed guards, 7 plainclothes detectives, and then I was the only female. So I was allowed to kind of transition over to the detectives side as well and go plainclothes a little bit, which was really cool experience. And so after I left Edinburgh, I went to England, and then I just worked again in more of a tourism setting, like at a wedding venue. So came back to Canada, and I still really wanted to get into this line of work. And so I started out with kind of just finding my bearings again, went to Tatlico, moved there, but then it was winter, so there's no jobs in there. So instead of going just to the closest city, which was Williams Lake, I came to Grande Prairie, funny enough. So I moved in with some high school friends, and I was like kind of trying to find my way here. And I was like, well, let's go to Edmonton because one is closer to where my mom lives. She lives in Saskatchewan side there, just outside of Lloyd. And so I went to Edmonton. And so more schooling and more work opportunities. And so there was actually an Edmonton police officer at Tim Hortons that I had gone into one evening. And I was like, I'd never really known municipal policing at all. So RCMP was definitely the route I was like destined to go on. I was like, I want to be on the musical ride. Just was very excited. And so, but with this EPS officer, I went up to him and I'm like, hi, I'm like totally random. I'm just like, do you enjoy being like a city police officer? And he was like, absolutely. He's like, kind of gave me a little spiel about it. I was like, this sounds amazing. Like your backup is closer. And I'm like, I like living in this city because like came from the country. Now I'm like kind of enjoying the city as a young girl, right? And so I was like, okay, this actually sounds really cool. So I've kind of got my wheels thinking. And so I looked into Grant MacEwan. They had at the time, it was called Aboriginal Police Studies. So I was like, it's a 1-year program. I'm like, this will really help me. I felt at the time it really helped me decide if policing is something I can actually do because I didn't really know much about policing. So I was like, I feel like this will really tell me if this is like my destiny. So took the program, absolutely loved it. One of the instructors was actually one of the first females to go through Depot in 1975. And she was such a role model. Like I would go visit her before class and just she became a mentor. And so I got to talking to more EPS members, like as I came in and gave lectures. And I was like, actually, I think that's where it's kind of pivoted for me. I'm like, I think I want to be municipal. Like I like living in one place maybe is what I want to do. And then also just being a female, I'm like, you know what? I do like the idea of having more coworkers closer. So, and I was really enjoying living in Edmonton. So I actually got a job as like kind of a pre-hire with Edmonton Police, but like no badge, no badge number. And so I got to work in some really unique units, one being like hate crimes. And so got to go learn what they were doing there with like undercover stuff. And so that was really amazing. I also was a commissioner for a little bit. And so I really got to meet quite a few members downtown. I got to hand them their radios, their keys. And it was really such a great time to kind of like as a young girl, just kind of getting into the profession. So then
How old were you?
Class. At that time, I was about 23.
Okay, so how long did you spend in the UK then? Like just a year?
Yeah, it was a 2-year visa, but I only ended up staying 10 months.
Yeah.
I came home from my sister's wedding and then I just never went back, sadly. I was like, oh, kind of a wasted opportunity, but I don't know, just the way it worked out.
Yeah. No, I always ask because I love to know how old people are, like when they enter their careers. And it's so funny because I just saw this like reel on social somewhere. I don't know where it was. And it wasn't for EPS or CPS. It was for a police force. It was for a Canadian police force. And it was like, how old were you when you started? And it had all these different officers and they, would spin this little whiteboard around. It was like 23, 21, 39, 46. And so I just love it because people come to these careers at all different different ages and from all different backgrounds. And I just love hearing like, sometimes we're young. Like, again, I was 22 when I started in corrections, 23, right? And so sometimes we're young, but sometimes people are coming to these careers as a second career or even as a third career. And so, yeah, I think that's so cool. And I agree with you. At 19, I too was like, I am so worldly, guys. I have lived in the UK. Like, I know what is going on. Okay. And then RCMP was the same thing, like patted me on my little head and they were like, no, child, you know nothing.
What? Yes, the truth of it. Yeah.
Totally. So then you were 23. So you were doing these, like working with the hate crimes unit and stuff as a civilian. And
Yeah.
then you got in as like an actual constable.
Yeah. So back then APS had the harder fitness standards, right? So there actually were pull-ups that we had to do as females to get in. So I was not able to do the pull-ups. So that was something I was working on. So they hired me to kind of work with me to get that accomplished. And so, yeah, I was working out with like constable that was a part of our group here. It's called DJDP, so Diversity Job Development Program, because at the time they were also looking for more diversity, and I'm Indigenous. So yeah, so I was able to, which was amazing. So class 113, I was able to get those pull-ups in, which was amazing. And then they literally, I felt like, I don't remember the timeline exactly, but it was like the old switch. They're like, oh, we don't need to do those anymore. So I felt like half the class, I could be wrong, but I feel like half the class was under the old kind of stricter guidelines to get in. And then they switched it. And I was like, oh, and I was like proud of myself. I was able to do it. I was able to get those pull-ups in, and then they made it easier. So yeah, I hit class 113 there in 2008. And like, sorry, just to backpedal a little bit, because like RCMP was always the goal, right? And so I put my application in with them as well in 2007, 2008, and I got in. I had a depot date. But because I was working with EPS, and like I remember riding around with my sergeant one day, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I got it. I got in with RCMP, and I'm like, oh, but I'm like, EPS is what I really want. So yeah, I just let recruiting know, and then it worked out that they eventually got me through the process, and yeah, they're like, you're hired if you want it. So I took the EPS offer.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. And that is funny that you say that. Yeah, that they changed the standards and it's like, wait a minute. But there's that sense of pride of like knowing that you needed to do it and then locking in and doing what you needed to do to get it and do it. Because same thing. I remember training for the RCMP physical and it was the pair, but it was also, you had to do X amount of push-ups and X amount of pull-ups and X amount of something when I was applying. And the pull-ups were killing me too, killing me. Like I'm like, yeah, maybe if I weighed 100 pounds, these pull-ups would be really easy, but I don't weigh 100 pounds and I have tiny little T-Rex arms that are really fucking hard, right? But it was like, you're training for it because you're like, I am not going to go into this not being able to do this. Like there's no, like that failure is not an option. And so, yeah, I was locked in on that stuff too. I'm like, whatever it takes to get this, I will do it so I can get into this and do it properly. So love that mentality. And so in your class 113, how many females were in that class?
There was 12, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow. That's a good number. Yeah.
We
That's
were
really
a
good
large class. So I think we were kind of at the start of that big hiring process they were doing. And so there's about roughly 50 of us in that class.
Yeah. And you said that you were Indigenous. And so what is your background in that?
So I come from the Chilcotin, which is BC, mid BC there. And so, yeah, I'm from Anaheim Band. My mother, she is like, my mother's side is where we have the Indigenous side. So I haven't lived with her since I was 6 years old. So she also had a rough growing up. She went through residential school and she also never talked about it. So I actually never knew much about her throughout my whole life until it all kind of erupted a few years ago where the truth came out about residential schools and especially Kamloops. So I actually went and saw my mom. I asked her about it. I was like, did you go to residential school? And found out, yeah, she actually went to Kamloops. So then I had so many questions, right? I was like, how long were you there? How'd you get out? And so, yeah, I got some information. She's pretty guarded about it, of course. But like her story is amazing. If I was an author, I would love to write her book.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Blue Line Fitness Testing is a premier law enforcement fitness testing and training center based in Edmonton. Specializing in helping individuals prepare for the physical demands of a career in law enforcement, we offer comprehensive fitness evaluations, specialized training programs, and classes tailored to meet the unique needs of our clients. Our facility hosts a range of classes and are committed to fostering a supportive and empowering environment where clients can achieve their fitness goals. Our team includes experienced trainers who bring specialized expertise in law enforcement, self-defense, personal training, and rehabilitation. We engage through our community through challenges, events, and our podcast, and we are dedicated to helping individuals succeed in their fitness journeys and career aspirations in law enforcement. Are you looking to get started with your career? Come see Blue Line Fitness Testing, and we'll get you there. That's incredible. I'm happy to hear that she's, managed to thrive outside of that and find her way, which is beautiful. And so did you find like having that Indigenous side, and maybe we'll get into it a little bit more as we kind of talk about your career, but having that Indigenous side to you, that it like adds to your skill set in policing and in dealing with, some of the population that we deal with in law enforcement. Unfortunately, there is a much higher Indigenous population that is within incarcerated individuals and within the law enforcement system. But did you find that you were able to kind of pull off some of that, or were you not necessarily raised in a very traditional Indigenous like household?
Yeah, I wasn't raised in a traditional household. So I lived with my father's side of the family, which is white. And so in Williams Lake, it's very polarized, right? Like a lot of Indigenous and then the white. So like through high school there, I found it was just very polarizing. So I was also very introverted, very quiet person. So when I was going to calls downtown Edmonton there, because like that's where I started. So after class, downtown was where I was put. And it was always an honor, like when talking to some clients on the street, like they were like, "Are you Native?" And I was like, "Yes." I'm like, "How can you tell?" I'm like, "But this is the cheekbones, right? I've got these big high cheekbones." And I'm like, "Oh." So I know I definitely look more, say, Irish on the Irish side of the family. But yeah, it was like I've always had obviously a soft spot and much respect for like the Indigenous side and trying to help them out.
Yeah. And so you got downtown coming out of training, which is crazy because downtown is like, whew. And in 2008, downtown was, although now I say that looking at downtown now is probably worse than it was in 2008. I know 2008 was like pretty sketch. It was like the jail was right downtown. We would walk out to our cars parked. We used to call it the back 40 out by so you'd go out of EPS's downtown, down the little alleyway between Brownlee and EPS, and then the jail was at the back, and then across two very dark, very deserted parking lots into our back 40 parking lot where we were allowed to park. And like the amount of times you'd be like, head on a swivel as you're walking through the parking lot because you're like, I don't need to come up between two cars and have somebody jump me. Like it was like, what the fuck? And then working downtown, like again, just and like our downtown is quite big. Like Edmonton's downtown, if you count like what they classify as downtown, not just like Jasper Ave and like the 3 blocks with all the high rises, but the actual downtown, Oliver Square and all that, it's big. It is a very big like division and area. And so to be in there is it's crazy, like crazy downtown. So big learning curve, I'm sure, especially coming in from small town BC to being like, oh, hi, downtown.
Yeah, I loved it. And it's all who you work with, I swear. Like my first squad was the best time of my life. Like I had the best sergeant and I've had so many great sergeants since. And so like even just the people I worked with, like my police training officers, like, wow, it's like take me back. I just, it was like the first 5 years there downtown were the best time of my life.
And so you were there for the whole first 5 years of your career. Holy wow. And it is true though, like because it's exciting then, right? Like when you're new, it's exciting and you're learning, and every call is like an opportunity to learn something new or try something different or see something different, or and if you have a good crew and you have a good sergeant and that they have your back, it's a safe place to make not necessarily mistakes, but to learn, right? To go, oh, well, that did not go off the way I wanted it to go off. I guess I'll try a different technique next time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And so did you like you finish training and then you're doing your field training officer field training officer training, so you're paired up with a mentor, paired up with a field training officer, and then is that for a year and then you're on your own, or is it shorter than that?
It's roughly 3 months that we do the
Okay.
police, like the police training there. So yeah, once you hit the street, you go through some phases. So phase A, B, C, D, and you're evaluated on each phase. So with the way my first squad worked there is, we got to work with quite a few, like almost everybody in the squad. And so, and then I stayed with 2 PTOs for the most part. And they were just, very pivotal and kind of helping me love the job and also like gain some really good skills. So I'm quite honored to have worked with them. They both actually moved on and went to tactical. So like, it was just amazing to have these great officers be my police training officers.
That's awesome. And so after the first 5 years, then where did you go?
So after that, I've always had a passion. Once I got in uniform there, I love being in uniform. I always thought I wanted to go into cover, but then after going through training and like earning this uniform, I was like, I love it. So traffic, I love traffic. I love like being a part of like enforcing traffic laws, and just having road safety is so huge. So I went to the traffic section there. The chief had just started this STAT team, which is Specialized Traffic Apprehension Team. And we were like kind of the first there for this STAT, we called it. And so, I got to work with some more very, very like pivotal people that like even now I like still keep in contact with. And so we were mandated to turn like a simple traffic stop into criminal offense. So trying to really just target those like criminal prolific offenders. Mm-hmm. So like, cause sure, you can stop someone and it's just a normal mom or dad with going to soccer, right? But it's like, no, like we're looking for the more serious things. We're looking to get the drugs, the guns, and the prolific offenders.
It is crazy to me how many traffic stops turn into that. Like how people, I say people, I'm talking like general public, no knowledge of law enforcement. They see, traffic and they're like, oh, those fucking dickheads giving speeding tickets. Like all they do, what are they fucking, don't they have anything better to do than give me a fucking speeding ticket? I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys, just got a speeding ticket the other day and thought the exact same thing, even though my job is literally to help people get into this. I was like, fucking dick. My fault, entirely my fault. I was speeding. I was late. It was 100% my fault, but I was pissed off about it. But some people have that, like, why are you stopping me? I'm a law-abiding citizen. Why aren't you stopping these people that are, murdering people? But like the amount of times that you guys do catch all that shit on routine traffic stops, or again with like a specialized unit like this where it's like we're targeting these people, and the amount of stuff that you guys pull off the streets, like if the general public actually knew how much good you guys do in that traffic unit in maintaining safety and catching these people, it, like again, I think it would change the perception like immensely on what traffic is.
Right. I know, totally agree. So after that, I went to back downtown, but then I put in a transfer for Southeast Division because by then I'd met my husband and I was like, oh, I kind of want to, go for a slower pace of life. Like, cause like Southeast was always Sleepy Hollow back in the day. And I was like, I could use a little quiet time, not go, cause downtown is like so busy, right? But of course, by the time I go to Southeast, it no longer is Sleepy Hollow. It was just as busy as downtown. It was crazy. It's just kind of the way times changed. And so, then when I was in Southeast there, I decided, okay, time to have a baby. And then I was blessed with twins. So that kind of really changed my career, right? Like having one, which I thought would be a child, but then it was twins. So that changed that.
Totally changes it. That's insane. Yeah. To like, I always thought like when I got pregnant, my third was a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of like, oh wow, I was not planning that. And my biggest like fear as I was going in, because I found out late because we weren't trying. And so I go in for the ultrasound because I'm like very, according to the pregnancy test, very far along at this point. And I'm like, oh God. And I remember like walking in and the guy like could just see that I was like super nervous. And he's like, hey, it's okay. Like everything's going to be fine. Like, you know, you don't have to worry. This is not invasive. And I was like, dude, I am not worried about that. I am worried that there are two babies in this uterus. I need there to be one baby. This is my third. And I need it to be only the third and not the third and the fourth. And he just started laughing. And he goes, I've actually never had anybody say that to me before. And I was like, I just need one baby. Like, just that's all. I said, I don't care if it's a boy, a girl. I don't care how far along it is. I need to know that there is one in there. And he was like, okay. So he's like, there's only one. I was like, oh, thank Jesus. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
I like I said, I bow down to the mothers of twins and triplets. I do not know how you guys do it. I have a very good friend of mine that had twins at the same time as I had my oldest, and I like you guys are incredible. The mothers of twins and triplets, and like more than that, like fucking you are
Right.
goddesses. Like you are goddesses. Oh my God. Yes. And so when you went to Southeast, so okay, so sorry, let me take it back. So traffic stat, how many people were in that unit when you were working in it?
So in the stat team, we had, I think it was 3 or 4 teams. It's been a while, sorry. And in my like direct team there, I think there was about 5 or 6 of us. Wow, I haven't actually thought about this in a while. But yeah, so I worked with one constable, and yeah, got a good friendship. And yeah, he actually just recently reached out and he had an RCMP email. So I was like, what? So I was like,
That's
what is going
awesome.
on?
Yes. Oh, good for him. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so then from there, you went back to just general patrol in Southeast.
Yeah, in Southeast, it was like a short time. Yeah, I got married in like early 2016 and then got pregnant right away. It just worked the way it worked out. And so, yeah, I wasn't on patrol very long until I was like, okay, pregnant. And I got to work in the kind of like in the back with the detectives and stuff, just doing like kind of analyst work in a way. And I was so thankful. I had such a good supervisor that was like so understanding and like just not giving me anything that would give me court when I would be off on mat leave. And then, yeah, once I found out it was twins, because I was like instantly so sick. It was crazy. I was excited. Like I've always been a career girl first. So that's why I had children late. And growing up as a teen, I was like, I'm never having children. So it was kind of a shock for my family to hear, one, I'm pregnant, but two, I'm having twins. So,
Man.
right. And so, yeah, so I had such a good supervisor because like once I found out it was twins, I was like, it was insane. I was just insanely sick, insanely tired. And so at 26 weeks, I got put off on like kind of bed rest. So just because like it's so much more higher risk. And then, yeah, then I went off for the 1 year mat leave and then I came back part-time. So I did 3 years part-time when I came back. So I really feel I've always put the career on the back burner, but would I do it again? 100%. So like we didn't have family very close in Edmonton when we were there. So Red Deer was the closest. And I was very thankful for my mother-in-law that if I texted her at like 5 a.m., I'm like, I need help. She came. So
That's awesome. That is, and it is like if you don't have that support, if you have one baby, I can't imagine not having support, having two babies at the same time. Like it's just crazy. And is your spouse as a first responder too, or no?
no, so he is more transportation. So he was with the City of Edmonton Transportation, and now he works transportation for the county up here.
Okay. So he kind of had a little bit of a regular schedule then, and you were able to kind of go back part-time and match, and then you're not having to juggle tons of childcare and stuff.
Yeah, he had like night shifts as well with Edmonton, City of Edmonton there. So yeah, he was more, yeah, kind of like a first responder schedule in a way. So that's why I did go part-time because like I wanted to be a part of my like kids' life in the initial years. I was like, who do I want raising my children? Which I really resonated with one of your previous guests here from Saskatchewan Marshals. I was like, okay, this like yes, like that's me and that's her, like same thing. That's how I felt. So yeah, went part-time. Again, thankful for such a really great boss at the front counter there and great people to work with. And so then I was like, how do you get out of this? Right. Like, because I was like, kids are young for a long time. Like they're still young, they're only 9. And so, but like that's where we were noticing when I went full time, I was like, days off, we were kind of, our work-life balance was like just living for those like couple days off we get a week. And every time we had longer time, we were leaving Edmonton. So every time we're out in the kind of visiting maybe up north here where my husband's side of the family is mostly is, or we'd be near Red Deer in the country there. I was like, oh, I need to go back to my roots. Like I grew up very rural. Now that I have kids, I'm like, I need to go back to where we're closer to the outdoors again. Like it's kind of calling me.
Mhm.
So it took about 2 years for me to like wrap my head around like actually leaving Edmonton Police, just because like I for sure was a lifer, I thought. But having children really changed that because like I'm like, I want them to grow up in not such a big city.
Mhm.
And also I want them to be closer to like some family.
Mhm.
So we moved to Grande Prairie. And that was definitely the hardest thing. Like that last day where I handed in my key card for the EPS gates, that was a very hard time leaving.
Yeah. And so when you chose to leave, you knew that you were leaving and you weren't going, because at the time, Grand Prairie did not have a police force when you left. So you knew that you were leaving and you were going to a peace officer role, not a police officer role. And so for our listeners that might not know the difference, peace officers, different jurisdiction, different legislation that mandates the work that they can do. Generally, peace officers do not carry a sidearm, so they don't have a gun on them. They may have pepper spray, maybe a baton, but they're not carrying a taser, they're not carrying a gun, anything like that. And they have limited powers of legislation that they can enforce. And so it is, I don't want to call it a step down because I think that the work that they do is so parallel and linked to the work that police do. But you could, if you wanted to say it, it would be kind of a step backwards for you into a different role. And so what was that like? Because not only are you now leaving this career that you thought you were going to be a lifer, you're leaving the city that you thought you were going to stay in for forever. And you're luckily going to a city that you had lived in before. So it's not like you're going completely to a new city, but you're going to a new role at different responsibilities. And so what was that like?
So it was good. So I like got the job with the MD of Greenview. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, it's going to be good, right? We're still in law enforcement. And so I was fortunate to actually have one coworker where I was just at the Grande Prairie here in Grovedale. So at least I wasn't a peace officer by myself, because I think that would have been way worse coming from like EPS where I have so many coworkers. You go to like the station and you see everyone and kind of just like a good time to see like friends. I have nobody, and then I just have one. So we have actually become like lifelong friends for sure. He was like such a good partner to have, and the fun we had in Greenview was fantastic. Like going to Kakwa, we got to ride side by sides out into like the beautiful Kakwa Falls area. We had some times where like was some first for us where like, sure, I grew up very rural. I didn't ever have to haul a trailer. And so there was this time where, so he also wasn't very good, or he had never really hauled a trailer either. So of course our boss is like thinking we should know how to do this because it's a fairly simple task. Hook up a trailer, put a side by side on it, and come down to Grand Cache. So we didn't check the ball hitch size for the trailer that was the cruiser. And so he's the one going to put the side by side up onto the trailer. So he kind of gives her, which at the time I was like, oof, like, why would you just kind of give her? But yeah, so he gives her, it goes up on the trailer, and the trailer pops off the ball hitch, and the trailer itself rolls forward into our peace officer cruiser. He doesn't see what's happening, but I'm just like, hands out, I'm like, stop. And then he does. He's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, no. Right? I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, I've never ever damaged work property like this in my life. And I'm like, what do we do? And I'm like, back the side by side off slowly off the trailer. Like it's damaged. It's not good. So that's definitely a story for us that like, wow, I just can't believe we did that. But yeah, we obviously learned our lesson. Like always check ball hitch size.
Yeah. That's one thing though, like I have always said, like I have 3 girls and have always said to my husband, when you are doing something that normally a girl would not know how to hook up a trailer, how to do
Right?
like these, I want you to bring the girls out and I want you to show them. And if it's something that I need to know, I want you to bring me out and show me, because to me, there's nothing worse than the feeling of being in a situation where, and for me, I always say it like this: if a fucking man can do this, I can fucking do this. If a man can figure this out, I can fucking figure this out, right? But if you've never been shown it, and it's something that you're like, hey, this is logically, I should be able to figure this out, but I have no fucking clue what I'm doing because I've never done this before, whatever it is, hooking up a trailer, taking off a trailer, backing the trailer in. Me and the trailer are not friends for backing in, not friends. I got to work on that. That is a place where I fall down. But any of those things, I'm like, no, bring the girls out and show them, because they need to know these are life skills. That's not a boy skill or a girl skill or a rural skill or an urban skill. That is like, everybody should know how to do these things. So bring them out and show them. And like, thank God, because there's like my 16-year-old, sometimes I'm like, hey, has dad showed you how to do this yet? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, he hasn't showed me. So get the fuck out here and help me.
That's so good that you're doing that.
Yeah. And so you did about a year, right, with Grande Prairie as a peace officer, and
so
then
MD of Greenview. Sorry,
right. Sorry. Yes. MD of Greenview. Yes, because there is a difference, guys. That's why there's a difference. And so then when you went, like, I'm trying to think when the announcement came out about Grande Prairie becoming a municipal peace force.
April or May of 2020. What was that? 4?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
2023.
Yeah. No. 2023. Yes. 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, and it was at the time though. It was like just like I felt like, oh, like when it happens, I'll believe it, right? Like because like they're like, oh yeah, we're like kind of exploring this. So I was like, but I was still happy with like Greenview, right? But kind of what changed was this the challenge, because like I'd be like, hey, let's do this, and then my partner is like, no, as a peace officer we cannot. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like impairs, right? Like and funny enough, he actually found a couple impairs, which he just called the RCMP as a peace officer. But like I'm like, let's investigate, like let's see how much they've been drinking, and it's like, no, stop, you cannot ask those questions. So I was like, ooh, I'm like, it just I needed more of a challenge. I was like, okay, I'm like, I'm not ready to kind of semi-retire like I thought, you know. So I was like, okay, well, I was like considering RCMP, but like I was like, well, I hope they just put me in Grande Prairie, because like we came here for a reason. Like my kids now have family, they have cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents. So like we don't want to move away from here. And then when Grande Prairie was announced, and then it was September of, I believe, 2023, where the chief was at an open house for the city. And I, with my partner there, I was like, can you come? Like, do you want to go? Like, I'm going to go to this open house and hope that I can talk to someone from like the policing, like department to see like if I can get in. And so, it was actually the chief here. And so it was amazing. Like, because one, he's from Edmonton Police himself. So like, I just obviously feel that kinship there. And so, right away, he was like, we exchanged numbers, and then it's like, wow, how do you text like the chief of police? It's just like, hello, sir. Like when there's an opening, I definitely will be applying. Like, I definitely want this. Like, let's go.
That's awesome. Because you were one of the very first that were hired, weren't you?
Yes. So I was the first female, and I'm like the 8th person hired for the service.
Yeah. Yes. And so when you went, because I think they started out just with experienced officers, right? Like they didn't run a brand new recruit class right off the hop. It was all experienced officers.
Yeah. So they got the recruiting section, the training section. So training kind of started the recruiting, and then I was hired and I came in and learned the recruiting ropes and then took off with that. So now we hired like recruit class 1, recruit class 2, 3, and now we just finalized 4, which will start on May 4th.
Love it. So exciting. So exciting. And so when you came over for experienced officer training, did you have to do any like up not upgrading, but like just refresher or recertifications for you for your training?
So I had done a few to like for the peace officer role, like kind of
Mhm.
renew, your baton and your control tactics. So for here, I was the last direct hire, but I did jump in on most of the like experienced officer program training. So they had that first class of like experienced officers come through also in the spring of 2024. So I jumped in on with them on their control tactics and just everything, like the firearms, of course, just to, because like now, well, of course, we also have like yearly testing that we have to
Mhm.
keep up on.
Yeah. And so then you've just been just as I say this, like as if it's an easy task, just been in
Mhm.
the recruiting department for the
Yeah.
last, so going on 2 years in April, you said. And so what's that been like? Because you're essentially building a brand new force from the ground up. Like you have I feel like carte blanche to create this force the way you guys feel it should be created with the people that you want. And so what's that been like in the role that you're in?
So it's been like a good steep learning curve, but like I've been so enthusiastic. Like I like when I got in, I was like, put me anywhere. Like I will do whatever. Just like because like one, I'm excited to get back into policing, but two, so excited to get back into municipal policing. And everything I had started with Edmonton just continued on here. So it was like I had just literally changed the division. I have like the same pensions. I'm working off of that still. And like vacation and benefits are all the same. So I was very thankful that, wow, I get that work life balance that I was like struggling to find in Edmonton, but now I get to live in this smaller city and I have all the benefits of being a police officer here.
Mm-hmm.
So recruiting, it's been good. So we've been doing like recruiting fairs and luckily Edmonton Police and like all the police services in Alberta have been so helpful in like if we have a question, like we can reach out to the other recruiting sections, which I definitely have been because like this is my first time in this like recruiting role and then just like adhering to all the provincial standards for hiring recruits. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of interviewing and setting up dates for like the AppCat, the written test, and then the APREP, the fitness test there, and then yeah, just going through the interviews and then like all those pivotal things that we did, like setting up polygraphs. So we didn't have our own polygrapher here. We were initially hiring out of like Calgary and then Edmonton. And now like we've trained our like one of our own detectives. He just went through polygraph training. So it's like, wow, like I've seen that kind of the first time I had to reach out, be like, hey, can we have polygraph week? And like, let's book it, let's go. And now we have our own detective. And like he comes into our office here and sets everything up. And it's pretty amazing to see kind of that progression.
And are you seeing lots of like interest in like lots of applicants, lots of, like people are like, yeah, that's what they're looking for. They want that municipal peace force, or sorry, police force, but not in a big city like Edmonton or Calgary.
Yeah, we have been seeing, yeah, good interest. It's as a recruiter, I find that sometimes not everyone's doing their research, which
Mhm.
that'd be like my advice is just to kind of really set yourself up, right? Like when I went through in 08, like the standards were a lot more harder, I found. But like I moved to like near the river valley in Edmonton because I was like, I need to run more. Let's go do stairs. Let's go do things, like really challenge ourselves so that we can like get to where like is our best foot forward. Where
Mhm.
nowadays, like I'm not sure if it's nowadays, but like my experience is like I've seen someone write the AppCat, they pass and they're like, oh, time to work out. And I'm like, you're 6 months behind. Like you should have been working out like 6 months ago, but like you should always be working out. So
Yes. No, that is the new standard. It is distressingly common to have that. And like, I don't know if you saw my rant recently. I went on Instagram, went on a rant because I can't like, and again, so if you missed the rant, listeners, if you don't follow us on Instagram or Facebook, go follow at Blue Line Fitness Testing, because I had a little bit of a rant. I've pinned it to the top of the Instagram page because it's the number one piece of advice that I can give to anybody that wants to get into these careers. Number one piece of advice is you need to train for your test. You need to train for your AppCat. You need to train for your fitness test. You need to train for this shit. You cannot come in off the street and think that you can just fucking do this. You cannot. You fucking cannot. I don't give a shit. Somebody out there's going, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm fit. No, you're fucking not. No, you're fucking not. And no, you can't. And come and run a practice test and we'll fucking show you. I'll prove it to you. You have to train for this. And why would you literally sign up for something and not to do any research, not do any preparation for it? It is mind blowing to me that people do this. They see a posting, they see the wage, and they're like, I want that, without any clue about what the job entails, what the work is, that it's shift work, that again, you might have to move somewhere else in Alberta. You might not get to stay in, if you're applying to Alberta Corrections, you're applying to Alberta Corrections. You're not applying to Edmonton Remand Center, to Fort Saskatchewan, to Calgary. You're applying to Alberta Corrections. So when they say to you, here's a job and it's in fucking Peace River, you're going to Peace River. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want to go to Peace River. Okay, well then say goodbye to the job. If you would have done your research, you would have known that, right? Like just stupid things like that. It's like, what are you doing? And same with the APREP. Like, guys, is it a challenging fitness test? Yes. However, it is also easily passable if you train for it. If you actually commit and do the work, it is easily trainable. So just fucking start preparing. Please start preparing. That is my piece of advice. I'm off my soapbox now. Let me just get off my soapbox.
I definitely have heard all your podcasts where you do give that advice. I'm just like, yes, you got it so right.
Yes. Okay. And so then now kind of this work that you're doing, are you seeing yourself staying in recruiting, or do you see yourself moving into a different role, maybe like taking something different on once the force is a little bit more established and there's more, people that can take on the recruiting stuff?
So I'm interested in going back to the road. So I've kind of put the feelers out there with the bosses here saying, you know what, like I would like to go back to the road. So right now we work with RCMP. So they are police of jurisdiction up until this coming October 20th. On the 21st, Grande Prairie Police is now in charge. So it'll be our chief calling the shots. So I'm not sure if it'll happen this summer. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely looking to go back to the road. I definitely, with all the people we've hired. So we're up to 70 now, 70 sworn members. And it's just fantastic when I get to run into them at we had a police graduation last Friday, which is amazing. So we had 10 recruits graduate, and then we had 6 experienced officers come over. So it's like, I want to work with these people on the street. I love patrol, right? But I'm like, I also remember, I'm also 10 years older now. Since I've left the street, I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting into maybe, but I'm like, no, I loved it downtown. This is what I signed up for.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll do so good. You'll be like riding a bike. The first couple of days will be like, oh, wait a minute. Wait. And then it'll be like, oh yes, I remember all of this. I remember every part of this. Easy peasy. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I want to start to wrap up because I've tied up an hour of your time already. And I could literally keep talking to you for another hour, but I love to ask all these kind of the rapid fire questions, the little bits and pieces that I learn about people when I hit them with hard and fast questions. So you've listened to the pod, so the number one question I always ask everybody is, what's your favorite food or snack while you were on shift? So what is it? What is your favorite?
So kind of 2 parts. So back when I was in patrol downtown there, Edmonton, it was definitely French vanillas, from Tim Hortons.
Yes.
And funny enough, also my partner and I would go to Subway a lot and he always make fun of me because I didn't realize I always got the same thing, and it was a ham sandwich. And so he'd be like, I'll get a ham sandwich, and I'm just like, oh my God. Thanks for making fun of me. But no, it was great. It was awesome. So, but now, honestly, because I take care of the kids and get their lunches together, I barely have time to, I don't make time for myself. So it's leftovers. I always thankful when we have leftovers because that's what I'm grabbing and going with.
Yes. And so you have a boy and a girl, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So prepare because yours are 9. Prepare for like another 2 or 3 years where there's no food in your fridge ever. There's no leftovers. There's no, I bought oatmeal yesterday. I bought instant oatmeal and I was like, I need it for today because I'm leaving the house super early. I got to have some instant oatmeal. I went into the pantry to get a one package out of the 6. Oh, gone, all of them. How the fuck do people eat 6 packages of oatmeal in less than 24 hours? I don't understand. So be ready to learn a new way to make yourself a lunch when there's literally nothing left in your fridge, even though you went grocery shopping yesterday. Buckle up for that. Oh my God. Okay. And then number 2, what would you say, because you've gotten to do a couple different things, couple different roles, couple different places, what would you say your favorite piece of equipment that you've been able to work with or use in those roles has been?
Well, like it's always such a honor, such a privilege. Like when I put on the uniform and put the belt on and load up the gun, like I'm just like, wow, like this is amazing. Like this is what I've worked for. This is what I aspired to be as a young girl. And I'm like, I did it. Like, yes. So definitely the uniform, but then 2, definitely be the police officer car, whatever one. Yeah. I just feel like being able to like have like the sirens, the lights, it's such a rush.
It totally. It's a little kid dream of get in, flick the switch, and it goes whoop whoop, and you're like, oh my God, is this not the coolest fucking thing ever?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had a couple of guests that are firefighters and they're like, the truck, like, of course, like, and they've got, like compartments and itty bitty, so many different tools. And they're like, the truck is the coolest thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like you're not wrong. Big ass fucking fire truck driving through town. Womp, womp. Like, yeah, that is pretty cool.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. And then the last one I would say, and this is such a great one because of the role you're in right now, recruiting. And we've shared a couple. So number 1, get fucking fit for your test, prepare, do some research. But what would be another piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's looking to get into a career as a first responder or is in law enforcement or even just with Grande Prairie?
So just having the consistent work history or some volunteering, just something to help give you life experience. And also someone that we can call for a reference check and kind of learn more about you. So just showing that you can work hard and you have good work ethic. So yeah, that's where volunteering or just having good city employment is very beneficial.
That is such a great piece of advice. That is so like logical and common sense because I'm actually saying this. I've been doing a lot of interview prep for people lately. And I mean, it's one of the things that we do through Blue Line and we do it for everything. So police interviews, peace officer, fire interviews, whatever it is, any type of interview we can help you with. But that is what I'm noticing a lot. I do resume and cover letter edits and review. And I'd say, and I mean, maybe it's just from COVID, like there's a lot of opportunities shut down, but there's not a lot of people volunteering anymore. There's not a lot of volunteer work that I'm seeing on resumes. And so then when they're trying to come up with examples for these interview questions, they're like, oh, at work. I'm like, dude, do you have anything else? Like, do you have any other facet of your life where you can pull examples from? And they're like, well, no, not really. And I'm like, well, like, you need to go volunteer somewhere. You need to give back. You want to serve this community. You need to give back to the community that you want to serve. Like you have to go and volunteer. And so I love that you say that because it's definitely dwindling. I think people are just saying, I've got the work experience. I'm going to put in with this work experience. But when you volunteer, you give back, but you also gain experience. You gain different perspective. You gain different opportunities to learn and put into practice communication and problem solving and teamwork and leadership and resilience and like all of these things that these agencies are looking for in their applicants, right? And so, yeah, volunteer work and getting that steady work history and having a good work ethic. Holy fuck, can we have a good work ethic, please, people? Please, also that. Oh my God, please have a good work ethic. Well, girl, it has been a treat. I'm so glad you were able to carve out this time for me. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
I just want to say thank you. It's such an honor to be on your podcast. All of the guests you've had, well, especially when you have Edmonton police guests, I'm just like, oh. But you've had some phenomenal, like every guest is so amazing. I just love hearing all the different like facets of all the different work for first responders. And so thank you for having me on this.
Oh, you are so welcome. And guys, listeners, if you want to meet Brenda in person, if you want to meet this absolute sweetheart of a human, she's coming down. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, April 11th. 1 till 4 for our Female First Responder Day. We're going to have over 15 agencies in at Blue Line set up. You can come, you can ask your questions. We got everything from police to military, corrections, fish and wildlife, conservation, Alberta Health Services, paramedics, Edmonton Fire, Calgary Police, Edmonton Police, Canadian Border Patrol, like you name it. All of these people are going to be in one location for you to drop in, for you to learn, ask your questions. It's all going to be women that are there, recruiters, and people that can give you the real, this is what the job is like from a female perspective. And so come, it's free, you guys. Go to the website, www.bluelinefitnesstesting.com/female first responders. Sign up there so we know how many people are coming. We can get ready for everybody, but it's free. Come out, come see me, come see Brenda, come see all the other, there's going to be a lot of the guests from the pod are going to be there. So if you want to fangirl a little and be like, oh my God, I listened to this episode and now I get to meet her in person, you can come to the event and you can talk to everybody and you can meet them. But yeah, it's been a treat. Thank you for being on the show. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.